Okay, class. I wanted to give you some instructions regarding your assignments for today. I will not be in class. I'm actually headed on over to receive my second dose of the coronavirus vaccine. Um, so the assignment today, before we move on to cells and tissues, actually relates to the coronavirus vaccine in a sense, because it actually, you should have an understanding of what the vaccine is, and I'm going to try to help you get an understanding of what it is and what it does through the assignment today. This is something you should know. Hey, teachers were out Monday and Tuesday getting their vaccines. I was fortunate enough to get my first dose last month on the 11th, and so I'm going today to get my second and final dose. Well, I wanted to cover something so that you have a little bit of context before you actually get into this assignment and watch these couple of videos that you have to watch and answer the questions. And so I'm pointing you back to this activity, this worksheet here, where you were supposed to label this process here based off of this diagram. You had those terms up top: transcription, translation, DNA, and such. And you labeled these things. Some of you skipped it over, and that's why I'm doing this video here. You didn't do that part, but I want you to understand that this diagram right here is actually the essence of what the mRNA vaccines are in this day and age for COVID-19. Okay, and what researchers, with this knowledge here, understanding this process here, is how they were able to develop this COVID-19 vaccine. And so you'll see, if we're labeling this thing, we recognize this double helix thing as DNA. We recognize that, this process of DNA unzipping and then a messenger RNA strand being produced or synthesized here is what we call transcription. It's basically being written out. All right. And in relation to coronavirus, the virus itself has DNA. And in that DNA, there is a section of messenger RNA that tells the virus ribosome down here to produce the spikes that are on the outside of the coronavirus. So this is exactly, this technology here that has developed the COVID-19 vaccine comes from an understanding of what messenger RNA does. So messenger RNA, we'll see that this strand of messenger RNA leaves out of the nucleus and then finds its way to a ribosome, which is this gray blob here. And we understand that those three nitrogenous bases are codons. Remember codons. So these codons up here, they code for amino acids. All right. So the message comes from DNA. All right. And then it is taken out of DNA by messenger RNA, out of the nucleus, into or to a ribosome, where the ribosome brings these little circular things, are amino acids, and they are brought by transfer RNA to the ribosome, where those amino acids, those circular things, are then connected together. And we know that long strands of amino acids are proteins. And in this case, this is exactly what's happening. The coronavirus creates amino acids that form a protein that are the instructions for the spikes that go around the coronavirus. And so what scientists have been able to do is actually find these instructions from the virus and replicate them. And this is what they're giving us, the instructions for making the spike. This is what they inject in us. So when our cells take up this messenger RNA, which eventually disappears, when our cells take up this messenger RNA, they end up producing these amino acids, linking them together, producing the protein spikes. And our cells, some of our cells, begin to develop these spikes, which initiate the reaction, the immune system reaction. So that's a little bit of background I wanted to give you before you watch the videos and complete the assignment today. Please make sure you answer all the questions. Please make sure you pay particular attention to number 11, which I ask you to identify some things that you know, didn't know, and some questions you still have about coronavirus. So have at it, guys, and I will see you next week.